Hello. I'm so glad you returned. My name is Shar Mayer, and welcome back to Behind the Mask, a video series for haunters from a haunter. This video will talk about some of the terms and explanation of common phrases that we use in the haunt industry. Now, I'm sure there are many regional differences, so if you have any I've missed, I encourage you to share below. We all need to share. That's the way our industry will grow. Now, you've probably heard me use the term haunter or monster already, but we are also called scare actors, scaritures, talent, spookers, boo. All sorts of silly, crazy names, but it really doesn't matter what we're called because we are the ones who bring the screams. As for the guests, I'll often call them victims or targets for obvious reasons. I'll also use the terms scare or hit interchangeably. Now, of course, I would never hit someone. It's just a slang term for a scare. Our season, haunt season. Most haunters perform during season. This is usually mid-September through the first week in November. We all know what it sounds like when we hear in April, I can't wait for season. However, there are some haunts that are open longer. Some that are open on other holidays and some year-round. Can you imagine being able to work haunt as your full-time job? I've been pretty lucky being able to do haunting most of the year-round. Although this has not been for my whole career, no. It's only been in the past 10 years or so that I've been able to work off-season. When I first started, we only haunted the weekend of Halloween. But with the years and the seasons continuing to grow, there are many more days to haunt. I do want to share about expanding your haunt season. I'll do that in a later video. So if that interests you, hang in there. Now, let's talk about different haunts. There are so many different types of haunts. Many haunters will start up with a home haunt. That's what I did. These are the ones that you do at your own home or your friend's home. And you create right in your home or your garage or your front lawn. What's great about home haunting is you're able to create exactly what you want. There is a freedom to explore your exact vision. You have all the control, but you either have to become a jack of all trades or have someone help you out with things you don't know about. Besides the scare parts, you need to understand lighting and sound and design. It's very involved. Home haunting is truly a lot of work, but people who do home haunts love them more than anything. Working at a home haunt is a lot different than working at a haunt run by a company. Traditional or old school or boo mazes are currently the most common types of haunts. They rely mainly on true and tried methods of scaring while adding new ideas that arrive each season. These are also a great place to start your haunting career as they're pretty easy to find. If you have a local theme park near you and they have a haunted event, this is a great place to get hired as they employ large numbers of monsters. There are also haunted hay rides and scare-themed rides and vehicle and car haunts. These are where you're inside a vehicle moving or sometimes stationary and the spooky stuff happens around you. I've spent a couple seasons working on hay rides and they are a fun place to haunt, except I always come home smelling of hay and other stuff. Then there's our theatrical haunts. These are shows that rely on actors to tell stories and to bring the scares where needed in the show. I love doing these shows because not only do you get to monster, but you also get to stretch out your acting chops. Some of these theatrical haunts are also immersive. These are shows where the guests actually become part of the show. These are fun to work, especially if you enjoy improv, because you never know what a guest will do or say. You can also include VR type of haunts in immersive haunts, but not just the ones that are recorded VR, But the ones that have that extra element, the ones that have an interactive performer that works to help out what the VR is showing. The newest types of haunts are the ones that you'll find online, using online formats to enhance their shows. Some of them are add-ons and others are true standalone shows. Well, now we've reached the far end of the haunting scale, the extreme haunt. These are for people who require more than the scare they would get from a haunted house. Extreme haunts are not for everyone, especially not for children, as the extreme nature usually requires 21 and over. Many are hands-on, so the performers will touch you. They also involve adult themes, adult situations, nudity, and sometimes even torture. Please, before you get involved with anything like this, be sure it's something you understand. And I would not suggest this as the type of show for your first haunt go-around. So now let's see what kind of flow your haunt has. The flow is how the guests move through the areas. Most haunted mazes do what's called a flow-through maze or a conga line. This is where one person follows the next through the maze. Sometimes there's breaks in the lines or groups will go together, but it's a constant flow of guests. So when performing in a flow-through maze, you would hit one or two of the victims, then you reset yourself while staying in character and get ready for the next attack. Other types of flows are room to room. That's one where the group will go in a room and then continue through the next room, one room at a time, each group staying together as they travel through. These type of haunts, you would work one room and you would begin your scare, they would move on, and you would do another one once the next group arrives. There are also free-flowing shows where guests are free to wander as they please. These kind of shows would depend on your character, but basically you would create a scene and direct it directly for the guests and the guests in the area. You may actually be able to follow with them. Many haunts today have one or more aspects of these ideas, and I'm sure there are new ideas just over the horizon. I can tell you, I've worked all these type of haunts. Each one has its own different challenge, and I think you have to be adaptable to be able to work whatever the haunt you're working in. I must say I enjoyed each and every one. Lastly, there are codes, nicknames for some of our special kind of guests that attend these events. Each haunt will have their own names for the... I personally like to look at them all as targets or victims and try to scare them as they come. There are also different terms for code yellow and code brown. These are things haunters usually take pride in. But after the first time you scare your target and you see they wet themselves, well, it's just another thing to smile about. So there are a bunch of different terms that I didn't talk about today, terms like pop-ups and sliders, and I'll be sure to bring them up on other videos. So if that interests you, meet me back here in the darkness so we continue to haunt and chat about haunting. Scare you later.